Hello, this is Simracing Corner and this is my review for the Thrustmaster T-LCM load cell pedals. Any serious sim racer out there knows how superior a load cell based brake pedal performs against the simple linear sensors used in basic pedal sets. A good quality pedal set gives you better control on the track, which in turn offers the potential of faster and more consistent lap times. I am very aware of this, having experience using different pedal sets myself, from the rudimentary right up to high-end pedals designed to give sim racing enthusiasts an authentic, realistic feel. So where does the Thrustmaster T-LCM Pedals sit amongst these other pedals in quality and performance? Well, that is something I will talk about in this video. But before all that juicy detail, let's take a look around this pedal set and its features. The bulk of the pedals is made up of the hard plastic base. It is rigid. I did not experience any flex while using the pedals. The patterned heel plate is pressed sheet aluminium. The pedal arms are cast from aluminium. The pivot points are set in a metal frame within the base housing. The throttle and clutch have springs for resistance along with magnetic sensors for registering the pedal position. The brake uses a combination of spring tension and the weight measuring load cell is located at the bottom of this assembly. Underneath there are rubber pads. Ideally make use of the 5 M6 threaded mounting points for hard mounting the pedals is the way to go. The pedal arms are in a fixed position, so it's not possible to adjust their physical spacing. However, the pedal faces have additional pre-drilled holes for laterally adjusting the pedal faces as an alternative solution. Included is a different set of spacers. Swapping these out changes the angle of the pedal faces to a more vertical position. Depending on how the pedals are sitting, using these may make the pedals more comfortable to operate. This card is included to help as a quick start guide. It's also a mounting hole template if you need to drill new holes into your pedal deck. You also get this multi-language printed manual. The pedals plug directly into your Thrustmaster wheelbase with the RJ45 lead. The pedals can also operate as a standalone USB pedal set, plugging directly into your PC. This means they are not dependent on having a Thrustmaster wheelbase present to operate, and they will work with other wheelbase brands and models on PC. But just remember, for consoles, you will still need to use a Thrustmaster wheelbase to use these pedals. The pieces I've dropped on the table are what you get to adjust the tension on the brake. The coloured springs have different strengths. It's up to the user to experiment with the mixed combinations to find out what suits them to get the right feel of resistance from the pedal. Whatever assembly you finish up with will always include 2 of the large springs and the centre preload spring sandwiched in between. You can add the optional small washers into the stack to reduce the preload spring for a firmer brake tension at the beginning of the pedal throw. Again, it's all about experimenting with these different combinations. There's no right or wrong way to go about this, it's just about what works for you. Once you've determined which spring selection to go with, you'll need to run the calibration tool to make some adjustments. Firstly, you can add or reduce dead zone at the beginning and end of the pedal throw on each of the pedals. And very importantly, you will want to make changes to the brake force here. Raising the percentage increases the amount of weight required to reach 100% braking pressure. And of course, lower the brake force percentage for a lighter application of braking. Keep an eye on the purple bar while applying pressure on the brake, as this is your gauge for feeling your way for setting this. What you're seeing here are the settings I chose that worked for me. I'm also using the red springs for the strongest possible tension. You may have questions about why the pedal base is rocking when I press the brake, so let me answer this quickly. The steel pedal deck on my sim rig is not drilled for the mounting holes on these pedals. I'm using the T-LCM cockpit adapter. That's an optional extra that you buy separately, and that converts it to fit the older T3PA and T3PA Pro pedal set mounting holes, which are pre-drilled on my pedal deck, hence my usage. Having used this adapter, the flex is not enough for me to notice, but it is not desirable, therefore I would not recommend it exactly. It is better off to just bite the bullet and drill new mounting holes. I've been using these pedals for several weeks now, and here are my thoughts. Firstly, they've been utterly reliable throughout, and they feel decently robust. The build quality is good. The spring resistance in the throttle and clutch are not adjustable, but they are strong enough to give me a good feel under my feet. As those two pedals use magnetic sensors, there is little to go wrong. Unlike some pedal sets that use potentiometers that can wear out over time or collect dust and dirt, which can affect their ability to work properly, that will not be a problem here. Moving on to the brake and the load cell, I very much appreciate they've included a collection of springs for changing the resistance. Everybody will have a different preference, and to some degree that will be related to the pedal angle and how they are mounted, or indeed if they are just sitting on the floor under a desk, in which case you will most likely be using the softer spring setup. Swapping out the springs is an easy toolless procedure. It's easily accessible, as I've already demonstrated, and the software is super easy to use and intuitive. Getting up and running just takes a few minutes. I tried the different springs, but for me the two red ones gave me the high strength resistance I wanted. However, initially my first impression was let down by the lack of progressive build-up over the travel of the brake pedal. The spring tension is a good strength, but they compress with linearity, which is to say from the beginning through to the end of the pedal motion, there is not a build-up of tension as I push through the pedal. It's just a plain weight of resistance throughout. I'm not saying it's not progressive entirely, but under your foot you need quite an exaggerated sensation to detect this. High-end load cell pedals make use of materials that make this possible, where the amount of weight you're pushing into the pedal is directly related to the braking force applied in the game. It's exactly how you operate a brake in a real car, and that is why load cell pedals work so well, as they are copying the same feedback you get from a real brake pedal. So unfortunately, the Thrustmaster brake does not feel exactly realistic. But do not be put off by those observations. It still retains the full advantages of using a load cell sensor, as I discovered very quickly. I had absolutely no problems using the brake for making precise inputs. In fact, I was completely comfortable using all three pedals in all aspects. I always felt confident and consistent, lap after lap, modulating my throttle and brake inputs. I didn't struggle to hit my threshold braking points or trail braking. Any lockups were the direct result of my mistakes. The pedals proved to be the right tool for the job and did everything I needed them to do. Let's return back to the calibration tool, and I will show you how I set the brakes and how I made use of the load cell. With the braking force set high and hitting the hard stop of the fully compressed springs, keep an eye on the purple final value gauge. That is only hitting around 75%, so that means 75% braking when I feel the springs have fully compressed. To brake past 75%, I have to bear more weight onto the pedal. The load cell is weighing the input and applying further braking. It is a bit of an odd feeling. I would prefer some further pedal movement, but it worked for me. The sensation of the pressure against my foot is a physical reference point that helped me brake with repeatable consistency. I'm not saying you should set up the pedals like this. You will find what works for you, but by sharing this with you, it is something you may be able to experiment with. For a more realistic racing car brake feel, third-party mods exist for these pedals, and I have had an opportunity to try a couple of these out. But they are in early testing, so I'm not in a position to give you any details on if they are worth using, but they will be reviewed, and I will drop links in the video description when they are available. Keep an eye on the channel and subscribe, as they will be coming. I want to start wrapping up this review by answering a question I'm sure a lot of people will want to ask. How does the Thrustmaster load cell pedals compare to a more expensive set of load cell pedals such as my Heusinkveld Pro pedals? If you strip away all the additional elements expensive high-end pedals brings to the table and just focus their attention on performance, I do not feel that my Heusinkveld Pro pedals gave me a technical advantage on the track. Although I did not run any comparative time trials, I did not feel that the Thrustmaster T-LCM pedals were any less capable of giving me the control I needed. If you want to spend a lot more money on a fancier set of pedals, sure, go ahead. You will enjoy them for what they are. There are certainly some advantages with greater adjustability with high-end pedals. So long as you are fully aware, paying more does not equal faster lap times. These affordable Thrustmaster load cell pedals is all you really need. If you're watching this review with the intention of possibly upgrading your entry-level pedals to these, in a few words I will tell you, just do it. You will not regret it. A load cell brake pedal is a game changer. It really is. I could easily make a standalone video talking about this subject and why you need a load cell in your brake pedal for racing games. And maybe I will. But for now, I will just say the difference is massive, and I see this sort of stuff talked about on forums from people's experiences who have improved their lap times after upgrading to a load cell set of pedals just because they have much more control over their braking, and that is why load cell pedals exist. It is not a gimmick, it is a real tangible advantage. And there you have it, guys. That is my complete review for the Thrustmaster T-LCM pedals. I hope you found this video useful and informative. If you own these pedals, please do share your own feedback with the community and drop a comment below the video. I'll be back with something new very soon, so until then, happy simming and bye bye.